majority of the beings we live and share this world with don't have a real idea of where these things come from.
So excuse me, how is that different from what Rachel said?
It's better. Mine was just a part. Mine was just a little part.
Okay.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Like he talks, yeah.
I can't remember fully what you said.
It was something about like mental affliction or mentally disturbed.
Oh, you're
like
mentally
these
disturbed.
people.
Yeah, mentally. There's
thinking.
another paragraph about, which is about when you should go at it alone,
Right.
where people are here on the planet, and all of us are under the influence of mental afflictions. All of us are like mental disturbed.
Yeah.
At that point, you just don't rely on anyone else and carry on. I think
this one also takes into account the idea that our experience is forced on us by our karma. So like with my explanation, it could have some room for like choosing
who did it. Yeah, cool. But you got that right. Question 5 is asking how do we refute the idea that we can be justified as somebody that seems to be deliberately angry at you? They don't have a choice. They're driven by mental afflictions. Nobody gets up and says, I'm going to be angry now. Yeah? Something wells up in them, and it's before they realize what they've said that thing's already in place. The next one says, so this is 6 on your final, name the principal qualities of the primal one and self-existent being which were believed in early Buddhist religion. Name the principal qualities of the primal one and the self-existent being which were believed in by early non-Buddhist religions of India. Do you remember the 2 names for them? They had some qualities, and there was a public debate about
Atman? No.
Atman is one of them, and
Brahma? No.
Tsawa. Dak, D-A-K, which is self-existent one, relating to Atman.
What is the creator?
So the qualities were creator of everything. Yeah? There was nothing before them, they created everything. They were all powerful. They have the choice to do absolutely anything. They were unchanging. Remember that? Which is slightly different to the Christian belief that they are compassionate. Yeah? Which is, so ours have similar qualities. Creator of everything, nothing before them, all powerful, can do everything. In our version of that idea is that they're all compassionate. The idea at the time was that they are unchanging. Yeah? Do you remember the refutation? And why are we talking about this? Do you remember why we were talking about this? Why are we talking about the philosophy of ancient India that says the creator God? And why is that going to be refuted by Master Shantidev?
It was about how can you have, I forget the details.
This is really important for this course.
How can you have something that never changes?
You're going to get to the argument. I'm saying, why even go there? Why even in the middle of this beautiful book that's saying you want to get enlightened? Mm-hmm. Chapter 1 was about the benefits of getting enlightenment. Chapter 2 was about removing the obstacles so you could even think of the idea of getting enlightened. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Chapter 3 was beginning to acquire the wish to get enlightened. Chapter 4 was being careful. Once you've got this little seedling of hope that you could get enlightened for the sake of all beings and get bodhicitta, you better take care of that through this, I'm so happy I've got this. Number 5 was awareness and recollection, which is the whole chapter on ethics. Yeah? Chapter 6 is what we're on, which is not getting angry, developing patience. Why the hell are we going to be talking about a creator God all of a sudden, or this type of God that was believed at the time to be the creator of everything, at this point when we're talking about anger?
Choice.
Close. This hit me this time, it didn't hit me in the 90s.
Because if something is angry at me, it's supposed to be like that because God decided it.
Cool.
Sure.
So he's going through all the arguments, and these were just some of them, when we're defending anger, I'm like, hold on, I'm angry because you're deliberately pissing me off. And he's saying, no, no excuse. I'm angry because you did the wrong thing. No, it's your karma. I'm angry because he's saying, where are all these things coming from that make you angry? So now he's going to go, someone made it outside of you, separate from you, over there, some creator being that is a creator of everything, that has complete power over everything, and that is unchanging. That's what he was arguing to the people at the time. If that's true, then you're probably justified to be angry because they made it for you to be angry. So then you've got no control. You must have anger then. He's saying that's not even an excuse because there's no such being. And so the refutation is you can't have a being that's unchanging and the creator of everything because you have to change from there was nothing to now there's something. There's a change. So you can't be unchanging. So either not changing or he's not the creator of everything. Right? So you can't, he was arguing at the time that you can't have a being with those qualities be responsible for why you suffer in the world, why you get angry in the world. Because if you have that wrong view in your mind, then you're always going to stay suffering because you think it's somebody else's fault. And you can't do anything about some big, powerful, bearded dude fixing your bad life for the worse. So he's gone. Maybe there's some energy out there. Maybe there's something out there. But if you're telling me they're all powerful, unchanging, creator of everything, impossible to have produced this reality. Because this reality is changing. How can an unchanging thing produce something changing? It must change. How can something be there before it was there to make everything there? Impossible. So he's refuting the people of the time. And this is a fine line between challenging the belief system that we have from childhood about some creator being and our responsibility for our world. And this is touchy ground for some, but it's highly important because if you have any part of your belief system that thinks something outside of you is responsible for your suffering, then you're not getting out. Because someone's got you by the balls. You're just at the whim of someone who decides, David, today you're good, so I'm going to show you a tantric deity, and all of a sudden David gets out and all of us get cancer, just because someone decides. That's not you. So it's very important, this part of the thing. Do you want to read number 8 and then he'll go through that?
This thing they believe called the Primal One, or the supposed self-existent being, never came about by thinking for a purpose to themselves, now I should occur. If it cannot be with a thing that never grew itself, then what do you think can grow then? It must forever shift its focus to its object, a thing that never did come to an end. Isn't it obvious that if this self were unchanging, then like empty space, it can never act to do something? And even if it happened due to other influences, how could they act on something changeless? When they did then, it would stay existing as it was before. So doing would do nothing. Where is something you can say it does that has at all any kind of relationship with it? And so it is that everything depends on other influences. They on other, inevitably. Understand this. Feel no anger towards any of these things, like pictures of illusion.
He's talking about dependent origination. Yeah? And the highest view of dependent origination is that things are dependent on your perceptions. Yeah? You've got 3 different views of explanations of dependent origination. The Majjhimika Prasangika, the highest view, says what dependent origination means is that things are blank from their own side. There is no nature you can ever find in a thing because there's as many perspectives on that thing as there are observers. Yeah? Observers. There's 3 levels of understanding that dependent origination. So you could say this brick wall is made up of its parts. Yeah? Sorry. Causes and conditions is the lowest one. Causes and conditions. So some schools explain dependent origination, which is a fancy word for where the hell does stuff come from. Yeah? This came from mud and water and heat and shaping. Yeah? And that's one way of saying, oh, but how does that remove suffering? Maybe I've got to stop everybody from making bricks, and then there'll be no walls, and then I'll be okay. Makes it sort of hard. Yeah? And it explains nearly everything, but not quite everything, like space. And so you could say, well, a different explanation, a little higher, it includes this one, but it's got a little more, is that dependent origination means things are dependent on their parts. Because all of a sudden you can say there's the top part of the wall and the bottom part of the wall and the left part of the wall and the right side of the wall, and each part has 6 bricks, and the 6 bricks has 3 bricks on the left of the brick, and which is what science is doing, looking for external physical matter to point to. And that still works. Yeah? If the wall is blocking me and I want to get rid of all walls, then I've got to start getting rid of the left side of the wall and the right side of the wall, the top of the wall. That's understandable. But ultimately, the thing that functions with the understanding of emptiness, the thing that functions with our understanding of where things come from, is that dependent origination means that this is a wall obstructing you because your mind made it so. Your projection, your consciousness, forced upon you by your past deeds, your karma. Yeah? It is an impulse response based on the storehouse of karmas you have. You can only see wall here because you have the human shape of mind that forces wall here. For a different entity, this would not be wall the way you see it as wall. Brick the way you see it as brick. It is empty of having that nature. The highest view of dependent origination is that everything is dependent upon how your mind is experiencing this, projecting this. And if you change the courses of your mind, this is the dealing of karma, then you can change how this is wall or not wall. Whether it's blocking or not blocking. Whether it's obstructing or not obstructing. So there's 3 different experiences or explanations of dependent origination in the Tibetan Buddhist viewpoint. Dependent on its causes and conditions, functions. Dependent on its parts, functions. Dependent on your projections, functions. Yeah? But that last one, all of a sudden, frees you up. Because you can't go changing every brick from the previous 2. You can go changing your perceptions.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you can transform your world. And there's something in that. There's something in that. Yeah. So we got to that because the last thing here was pictures, like pictures of an illusion. Yeah. And here I got the notes. Soul was the primal one, and Atman was duck, self-existent one. Let me do another 5 minutes and then we're done. Yeah, we'll do it by 10. There's another, question 7 says, what method does Master Shantideva advise for avoiding anger towards those who harm our lamas and families? Remember? So we went through excuse after excuse why I could get angry. And he's just going, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. And then this beautiful one that says, what if someone came in here and started destroying that, destroying the Buddhas, and then harming or talking bad about your teacher or pulling them down or saying that Buddha was a crazy bastard or whatever. What's our response to that? What should we get angry at? Should we be angry when they destroy the essence of what we're being taught? What's his answer?
Mental afflictions again.
Explain it.
They are acting out their karma because they have mental afflictions.
Partly. He says in particular to the lamas, in particular to the objects of refuge. Remember we talked about if they destroy temples and shrines and the rest, you should think of the 3 jewels. And the real quality of the 3 jewels, the real thing that gives you protection is they don't have a nature from their own side. That's the thing that actually protects you. It's not something inside that statue that will be harmed. Yeah? So why are you getting angry? right? They don't need you to get angry. They're not there. It's not. That's not where the through jewels are. But this question was about, okay, not the shrines and so on. What about they come and start saying crazy things about the Dalai Lama, or they start abusing your teacher? And you, two answers.
The llamas? Oh, go ahead. Oh, you go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say that it was one of two things. Either you see it as that is the Lama's karma, and therefore if that's his karma, he's forced to experience it, or you see it as oh man, I lost the other one.
Close.
Like,
That's good.
it's like it's your they are ultimately a projection of you.
They're enlightened beings.
Yeah, they're enlightened.
They don't need your anger
Yeah.
to stay enlightened. Yeah? So you should view your teachers as the Buddha themselves. Yeah? Because why does that make sense? Yeah? Why does it make sense for you to view the teachers you have in your life as the Buddha themselves? Or your heart Lama or something like that? We've got to answer that in the West, otherwise we get a little weird. Why does it make sense to forcibly project upon your Lama a perfect Buddha?
Well, there's a bunch, because like that's what you're trying to attain. So if you solidify that image in your mind, then you can more easily achieve it.
Cool.
They're bringing you the teachings.
They're the only link between you and all the teachings. Yeah. If you're really feeling the teachings that wake you up, then they are the Buddha. Yeah, there's no other Buddha in your world that says, "Hey, I'm about to teach you something." It's that guy with the warts or the hair or whatever that doesn't quite look perfectly Buddha-ish to me just yet. But I better treat him that way if I want to generate that projection. Yeah? So, if you are thinking of them like you should, which is they are an enlightened being, does an enlightened being care that you get angry for their sake?
No.
No? Are they experiencing anger or hurtfulness if someone's abusing them? Are they experiencing badness?
No.
Okay. If they're an enlightened being, they don't. So that's the first answer. And the second one is what you said. If you can't master the vision of them being an enlightened being, if they're just a schmucky human Lama, right, which you try not to have, then it's their karma. You can't change their karma. You can only change your karma. Yeah? Now, does that mean you should do nothing
No.
No.
towards any harm? Forget just the teacher's harm. Any harm. How should you act?
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, skillful means, nice answer, right? Skillful means. But if someone was coming in here and about to crash the altar, should I just go, I'm just not going to get angry and just watch them?
Mm.
No, you want to stop it also for them so they don't plant a seed in their mind that they're.
Yeah, great. For others,
Yeah.
them and others. Cool.
So
Do you
using
wanna-
anger in that situation might be appropriate
If you're not angry yet,
if you have a good intention.
if you have a good intention and you have to pretend anger and put on a wrathful face to go, what the hell are you think you're doing? But you're not really thinking they're the cause of this, then that's skillful means. C14, yeah?
It is completely wrong for me to feel anger even at those who speak against or try to destroy sacred images, shrines, or else the holy Dharma, since the Buddhas and such cannot be heard. And even too when harm is done to lamas or relatives or the like, and those who are your friends, turn back your anger by seeing the fact that, as the way before, it all comes from causes.
Great. Awesome. We'll do one more because I think this one is for David. And since you've been reading so nicely, and we'll finish on time. On time reading, Tim. Yeah. Give the reasoning that Master Shantideva states. Shantideva states. Give the reasoning that Master Shantideva states to demonstrate that we should cherish the opportunity which we get to practice the Dharma when we meet irritating people. Yeah? Do you remember the reasoning?
It's really hard to find those people.
It's really hard to find those people. Remember my reasoning, my retort to that? Like not in my world, it's really easy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
lots of
once
annoying people.
patience becomes the norm.
Great. Okay. So once we practice this path and you're getting rid of anger,
You're getting rid of those people too.
those people begin disappearing and they become like, do you remember in the
Like hard to
hard to find, right? Read the thing.
Rare opportunity.
Rare opportunity. Great. Read number 17.
The world may be full of beggars, but finding someone to do me harm is truly a rare occurrence, since there could never be a person who hurt me any way at all if I did not them first. Suppose that without an ounce of effort you came across a treasure chest hidden in your house. You should thus feel grateful for your enemies who aid you in your Bodhisattva practice. Since he and I both bring it about, it's fitting that from the outset itself, I devote to him the final result that comes from being patient. He has, in the way described, provided something for me to be patient about.
Remember, this is the beautiful thing, right? And it feels counterintuitive. And usually that's how I know I'm onto something. That he's saying, like we said with Rachel, the more you practice patience, the less people can really trigger these kind of moments of anger. And so you begin to find them rare as finding a chest of jewels in your home. They are like beggars on the street. They're like, what was the thing about beggars on the street? There was, the world might be full of beggars, right? But finding a person that gets me angry is really rare, the more you develop. And he's saying, deal with them from the outset, yeah, as giving them credit for half of your enlightenment, yeah, and that's pretty amazing. To say, you who are making me angry, there's something behind this relationship that you're forcing me to get enlightened. If it weren't for you, I could not reach my goal, and it's true if you're practicing. If this person gives you the opportunity to break and chip away a chunk of the thing that destroys oceans of virtue, then they deserve the credit for you becoming an enlightened being. At least half the credit. You give me the annoyingness, and I will give you the patience, and because of that, my muscle for patience grows, and my mind can transform. So be grateful for the annoying people in your life. Let's dedicate. That's a nice thing. David, do you want to do it? Yeah.
Sashi
Buddhir Jishin Metotram Rirav Ningshir Yinde Yambali Sangye Shindu Mide Vivargi Dropu Namda Shinla Jivarsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami Divokun Sunam Yeshe Sok Sok Shin Sunam Yeshe Mejun Wei Idamba Duni Utoparsho. And if you still have your teacher at the crown of your head, just invite them in, getting smaller and sinking down through the crown of your head, past your throat to a place in your heart. Okay, and thank you again for letting us talk about these things. I'll see you next week. We finish off this course, and then your paperwork is also finished. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then we'll talk. Thank you. And then we'll talk about the next chapter, which is on wisdom, ACI 13. The whole chapter, 12. The whole chapter on emptiness, which will say, oh, remember all those practices I gave you from 1 through to chapter 8? He'll just give you a new lens to look at them all. Stunning.
Be here next week, same time.
Same time next week, we'll do the final review. Yeah.
Final.
We're up to question 9, right?
Yeah.
Here's extras.
Thank you.
Do you need someone to record next week? I'm not going to be here.
Okay, sure. Where?
I'm working.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Can someone record next week? Does someone have a laptop that they can connect that to?
I could leave it.
If you leave yours, you know how to, you know how to do it.
I know how to do it.
I
Yeah.
consider it, yeah.
Okay.
I'll have mine, but sometimes it disconnects from this internet.
I mean, mine does too sometimes, but I'll leave mine. That's fine.
Okay.
You can just take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you for the guap. It's so good.